Welcome to the 25-8 podcast, first episode 1. What is today's date? I don't even know.
It is the 18th.
The 18th of February in the year of our Lord 2013. My name is Jeremy. To my left
is Damon, and to my left
is Chris, and to my left
is Josh.
Okay, we're starting out this new podcast thing here. I just want to tell some stories, share some life experiences, meditate, we all have, very harrowing experiences in our life, and we're trying to overcome these through the art of talking and, verbalization of our problems. So, a couple weeks ago, actually it wasn't a couple weeks ago, we had this idea. Where did it start from, boys?
Well, we didn't want to do work.
Yeah, we didn't want to do work, Didn't want to do any work, so we're just going to go ahead and start up this podcast, cuss a little bit, tell some stories, and have a good time. So, what do we want to start this one off with? When I went down to Leesburg the other day and did some recording. You guys want to hear about that one?
Sure.
Met this guy on the internet. That's how every good story starts. I met some guy on the internet.
Hey, he told me.
He told me I'm gonna get you. Anyway, long story short, I play in a band, and we sent him some of our music, and he's like, dude, bro, I got this recording studio. It's sick, bro. It's sick. We're gonna go ahead and take you down there. So he sent me the address for this place, and I'm like, okay, so you can put it into the Google. And, get down there in the street view and look at it. I look over to this place, and between it is an African hairdresser for artificial weaves and the crappiest Army surplus and Navy store you've ever seen. And in the middle, where the address actually is this barred up, you can't see in the windows, just like convenience store bars where you can't get in. It doesn't even say recording studio or no professional sites. It looked like someone got stabbed right in front of it. And I'm like, oh, geez, this doesn't look very promising.
It's a murder
I imagine going in there, and he's got like an 8-track sitting in the middle of like a coffee table. He's like, okay, go, record. It's like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? No, but, so we drove down there, which, by the way, have you guys been out to Leesburg? Absolutely beautiful. If you go 30 minutes out of our hellhole of a city, there's hills, there's white people speak English. It's absolutely beautiful. The air smells better, okay? You can smell the smog from Disney bearing down on our souls. It's so bad. You don't know how bad it is until you leave this area and breathe somebody else's air. God, I hate this place. But, went out to Leesburg, and we get there, it's like 9 in the morning, right? Okay, we pull up, and nobody's there. We're the first ones there. He's like, I'll be there at like 8. It's 9. And I'm like, oh, Christ, he bailed on us. That's a lot of gas money. And then he shows up, he's like, what's going on? So we get the guy in there, and he opens it up, and I'm like, oh, God, here comes the murder scene in the 8-track. And I open it up, and the guy's got like $30,000 worth of equipment. Like, I'm talking PAs, like, the huge, like, House of Blues PAs just laying down on the side, fog machines, lights. He's got his own, like, artificial stage and a green screen. He's got his own recording studio. I'm talking, like, isolated room, like, and he's got a huge computer and all the programs and stuff like that. And I'm like, no wonder why it looks like a piece of shit on the outside, because if anybody ever broke in here, they're running away with, like, 20, 30 grand of equipment. And I'm like, holy God. He's like, I told you, bro, it's sick, bro. It's effing sick. I'm like, okay, man, I get it. So we go in there and we start setting up, and we get the drums in there, and I'm about to lay drum tracks, and he's like, okay, man, we got your tone, we're gonna go smoke a bunch of pot, we'll be right back. And I'm like, oh, Christ, here we go, they're just gonna get stoned out of their mind and nothing's gonna get done. But to my surprise, they actually work 10 times better when they were smoking pot. And so we get these drum tracks done, and they're sounding pretty good, and by the end of it, like, you can take your finger and, like, wipe the residue off of all the smoke in there. Like, it's just horrible. There's no ventilation. You're choking on it. And so he gets that out, and we start recording that, and we start mixing that, and then we do some guitars, and we do some vocals, and we're sitting there BSing, and, like, they have, like, their own, like, cycle of people that come in there randomly, just bomb in and hang out. Like, their own, like, homeless guy, and then there's the long-haired guy who likes to smoke pot with them. And they just keep coming in, and it's just, like, a really cool vibe to it. And we go ahead and we get this thing recorded, and then we start mixing it, and they smoke more pot. And I'm like, oh, God, now they're really stoned. No, man, they worked even better. Like, they could hear, and they could move. And then the guy that recorded is super cool. I won't name him, but if he ends up hearing this, man, you got your shit down. I love you to death. but he was in a horrible car accident. I'm talking like this guy got T-boned on the side of the road, like his body is shot. He can't move his hips right, aches and pains, damage to his head, can't play drums. He used to play in Lobotomy. Used to be in that band over in California. And so our bass player, Happy, is stuck in the one room with this guy as we're recording. And he's got this massive scar that runs down his chest. So, he's like, hey, you want to see my scar? And he lifts it up, and it's just this mangled scar. And Happy keeps looking at it, he's like, thank you for that. And then, every 5 minutes, he's like, bro, check out the scar. And Happy's sitting there like, I've seen it before. And he does it 7 times. Half hour later, he's like, hey, man, did you see my scar? He's like, yeah. And so and I'm seeing it through a glass window, and I can't hear anything. So I basically, it's dead silent. It's like, and I just keep seeing him flashing. I'm like, what the hell is going on in there? And so that took for one song, dude. It took from 10 in the morning till 3. Okay, that stuff is so sensitive, and the recording program they use is so sensitive. If I breathe wrong, it picks it up, and I have to do the whole thing over again. What they do is they record the drums, and it locks on to your tempo, and it locks on to your each hit and strike. And if you fuck up, it's going to tell you about it and make you sound like shit. So I'm like, oh my God, why do I suck? He's like, that's because you do. The program doesn't lie. You suck. I'm like, no. And then eventually I got it down once I got used to it. And then it actually sounded pretty good. And then later that night, out of nowhere, he didn't even send the mix master money. He sent it into some radio station in Palm Beach. And ended up getting played. I was like, tits. Yeah. Okay. That's my dealings with. Did you have anything else happen to you over the weekend in the past, Pip? That we need to anything like that?
Nothing this weekend, but you said you got into a car accident, and that really sucks for him. But I feel bad for him. that came out like I didn't care, but I really.
And then you realize you didn't care, and you're like, I feel bad for him. He was in a car accident. Anyway, my story.
Well, no, because I've had people die from motorcycle accidents.
Okay, let's not down this here.
Yeah, I know.
And Chris has an alcoholic, abusive father, and Josh doesn't have one, and the long-haired guy's addicted to coke. Let's not do that today.
Okay? No. But I think it was over the last summer. I was walking home. And I see, where my house is, there's the main...
Is it a half a house or a whole house?
You shut up about that. It's a house, okay.
You live in a half a house.
You live in a half a house.
Anyway, in the front of this...
No.
Busy street.
He's not even going to let me get in on this.
No, in the front of it is a busy street, it's like a 6th Street highway, but 6th Street, 6-lane street. And to the right of it is
4 lanes.
4 lanes? I can't. It's 5. Okay.
You live on a 4-lane?
There's a turning lane in the middle, so it's 5 lanes. That does not count. It's a lane.
It's a turning lane.
And it's a lane.
Learn the law.
It has lane inside of it. Anyway, look what you did. Anyway, to the right of my house is this small little off-road, and to the right of that is a stop sign. And when I walked home one day, I found the stop sign bent up and sitting in my yard, just right there. So I walk up and I'm like, what happened? It was over across the street. Now it's here. I look to my right and there's a car sitting in my wall. Not really in my wall, but it smashed up against my wall. Somehow it didn't break in. I don't know what happened.
So it just dented your wall. It was like, ow.
No, the car car up against it. My wall just lost a bit of paint. That's about it.
That's some paint?
Yeah.
So it just hit your wall and was like, nope.
Yeah, it got some of the car paint on it. It turns out the guy passed out while driving.
That's called drinking and driving.
Yeah, and he swerved off the road and slammed into my house, which is really strange to have a ditch right there. So the back of the back wheels, you can tell it slammed up against him and pushed up inside.
So
of
which
the car.
half of the house did it hit? Yours or the other tenants?
The other tenants, which is the rest of my family.
Yeah,
so,
but it's divided down the middle.
It's not divided down the middle.
You guys don't have a kitchen.
Yeah, we do. We have 2 kitchens.
There's 2 kitchens, 2 bathrooms, and 2 bedrooms, right?
4 bedrooms.
4 bedrooms. So if you divide everything by 2, you have 2 bedrooms, 1 kitchen, and 1 bathroom, which is a whole
paying
house.
$900 worth the rent. So
Yeah, but there's a wall in the middle of it, and you have to go from...
There's not a wall in the middle of it. You have to walk out one door and into the other.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't. Have you been into my house?
You drew me a picture of it.
And I showed you there were doors inside.
There are no doors, and you live in a half of a house.
If I had you draw a schematic of your house, I could guarantee you I could say that's a half of a house.
No,
you
it's
cannot.
No, you cannot.
Minus
cannot.
the 2nd story.
You live in a duplex, but horizontally instead of vertically.
What's your age, man?
Lung cancer is really kicking my ass. You have anything, Josh, you want to share?
Nothing really.
I got a story. I remember you telling me a while ago.
I do not remember this
I
at
remember
all.
this story. He swears up and down. We were talking about it before we started recording.
Let's
this.
hear it then.
Okay, let's hear it. We were talking one time, and it was your younger years. I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago. And you were trying to view some adult material on the computer.
Continue.
Because you're young, you're interested, you want to see what tits look like. I hear you. We've all been there. And so, classic like 2 a.m., dead quiet. You're tiptoeing through, and you get to the computer, and you turn it on, and everything's going, and you kind of like turn on the monitor, and everything's going good. And you start viewing whatever it is you're doing, and you told me that your mom went up to get like a drink of water or something like that. And so you just unplugged the power cable and hid up underneath the desk. And she like walks by it, and if you can imagine like a POV shot, John, he's like huddled up underneath it, and he looks over and he just sees legs. He just sees her legs, and she's like, "I smell something was wrong here." And then like you have to wait it out. You have to wait it out until she goes back, and then you scurry out back into your room. I'm telling you, and then I think she woke up the next morning and go, "Why is the computer unplugged?" You don't remember this at all.
I don't remember this.
I remember that was you. You told me that specifically.
Oh my god.
You hid up underneath it because you couldn't get back to your room in time.
I'm 100%. I do not remember this.
I'm telling you.
If you're telling me that I told you the story, then fine. We'll leave it at that.
You were living here in
honestly
Florida,
don't
and
remember
like
this.
you were doing it, and you just hid up underneath the desk really quick.
I told you this 4 or 5 years ago. Wait, what?
No, you told me like about a year ago when we were riding the bus, and it was in like
4 or
middle school.
5, right?
It was in middle school.
I'm not remembering.
In middle school 1 year ago.
Middle school was more than a year.
No,
ago.
he told me it a year ago.
Okay.
Oh,
But from
it
the
happened
events, it was 3 to 4 years ago. So I
Okay.
bet you take your calculus using ads and you go learn some basic math, Chris. Okay? Christ. Don't throw that at me,
My
please.
pen.
Is that your pen?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have anything you want to
So
share
basic math,
today,
that's mine.
Chris? You got anything interesting going on?
I got nothing.
You got nothing over the weekend? No hiding under
Well,
desks?
Well, I got stuff, but it's not like story material. It's like,
Everything's story material, man. As long as it's not depressing.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about, like, Chris!
Pounding away at his face.
Just beating the shit out of
Drunken rage.
Yeah. How's Daddy's princess right now?
What?
Oh, God.
Sorry. I hope
my
that
God.
never. I hope that never happened to you.
No, it doesn't get like that.
Okay, good. I'd be more concerned about the Daddy's princess part. I'd rather take a good clean man punch to the face than be called Daddy's little princess any day of the week.
Oh my god.
I went to that Denny's over at Osceola Parkway. You know, by the Walmart. You guys ever been to that one?
No.
Anyway,
Yes, I have.
how was your experience?
Oh, it was very nice actually.
Mine was complete shit, and it was the second time I went there. First time I went there was like 2 or 3 years ago with my brother. He got out of the Marine Corps, and we were visiting him. And we got like, it was back when they were doing like the Bacon Palooza. They were putting bacon in like
yeah.
milkshakes and stuff like that. And we had it in the milkshake, but you know how bacon naturally comes like raw and like you can like wiggle it around
Yeah.
really easily? When they cooked it, you could still do that. And it was in my milkshake, so he got
yeah.
really mad and just kicked open the door and broke it. But the second time was after we got done recording, we went down over there, and Dustin, our guitar player, had drank heavily the night before recording. Mind you, we were out the door at 7 in the morning. He got home from drinking at 6:40 and slept. He was still drunk when he got into the recording studio, so he was absolutely dead. So we get in there, and there's no hostess. Like it's like The Shining. No one's in there. It's like the lights gleaming off the counter. And finally, somebody walks in, and she's like, "Hello, how many?" And I'm like, 4. And instead of putting us like in the middle or like near families, she put us all the way isolated in the corner, right by the kitchen. So you're sitting there in the kitchen, and you can hear the workers talking about the food and talking about their personal lives. And she sits us down, and she's like, "Hey, here are the menus." And she goes back, and I hear like the waitresses complaining about like their baby's daddy not paying child support.
Oh God!
And he smacked her around a little bit last night. She's gonna leave his broke poor ass, or however the hell they talk about it. We're listening to the whole thing. It's like Days of Our Lives. So
God.
we order our food and everything. I had like biscuits and gravy, pancakes and stuff like that. And as we're waiting for our food, I hear out of nowhere, "Okay, guys, we really need to talk about this. You got to stop letting your hair get in all the customers' food." And I'm standing there. I'm like, "What the fuck?" She's like, "Okay, like I don't know her name. Like Sarah, you had 4 hairs in your food just yesterday alone." She's like, "It's not from me. It's that broke ass dishwasher."
Oh God!
And I'm like, "So their dishwasher doesn't work." That's not sanitary enough. I don't trust you to clean my shit. And so
You just walk out.
I should have, but I was so damn.
I'll still like this. All right, we gotta go. Just ducking under.
We should have left, but we didn't.
God.
So, and then I hear her like, "Yeah, and I had a bunch of hair in the gravy." Mind you, I ordered biscuits and gravy. And I'm like, "Are you shitting me?"
I should have left.
And so she sets the food down, and our waiter was super cool. There was like the posse of like hood rat, like, "Bitch, please." Like, and then there was her, and she was just trying to do her best in the situation given. And she puts my biscuits and gravy down, and I give her the look. I'm like, "Is there hair in it?" She's like, "No, I checked." So I thumbed through it all. And it's fine. And as I go to cut into my biscuits and gravy and pancakes, I realize there's no silverware. There's no napkins. You know how they're supposed to do that as soon as you sit down?
Yeah.
There was nothing. There was nothing there. And so I'm like going around into the back of the kitchen like, "Hey, can I get some silverware?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they forgot that I'm sitting next to them so I can hear them. So as soon as I leave, they're like, "Shit, we didn't wash any of the silverware." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I should have left.
You should have left. Just get out
I
of
should
there.
have left. I haven't puked yet. But
That should be your first thought. Like, I mean, like, I need
You're gonna die like salmonella or something.
I didn't even tell you about the eggs. I didn't tell you about the eggs.
Oh no.
So we get back in there, she puts 1 fork down for 4 of us. I'm like, "That's not gonna work, lady. We need more." So eventually, like 5 minutes after, she's just scrubbing the shit out of this, probably with just warm water. Probably hasn't been washed. We're sitting down. Oh, and before I forget this, we walk into the restaurant, and there's a table in front of us that hasn't been bussed. It's like still sitting there with the food. And we're there for an hour, so I don't know how long it was been. So we're sitting there, and we start to eat, and I start eating the egg. I'm like, "This tastes a little funny."
Oh God.
And you know how like you're not supposed to be able to pick up an egg and like shake it around a little bit without the yolk busting and falling apart? I could throw that son of a bitch like a frisbee if I wanted to. I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then a buddy of mine got a burger, which was basically it was basically a salad and some bread with a little bit of burger on top.
The burger was on top of the
Yeah, of the salad that he ordered with bread, and
Oh
that
my
was really
God.
bad. So we get back, and then and she's like, "Hey guys, how was your meal?" And I'm like, "It was all right." I could just feel my stomach like regretting everything it had eaten that day. And so we leave, and that table still hadn't been bussed yet. So we were there for an hour, and then however much time before, and then the table still wasn't bussed yet. And then, like, before we leave, you see a family come in, and they're like, "Shit, we still need to wash these dishes." Then we just leave. We pay for the meal, I tip her like $1, and I leave.
a buck.
Well, dude, it was horrible.
Of course.
I could throw
Yeah.
my egg across the room if I wanted to. Thank God, the bacon was all right. They didn't screw the pancakes, but I think you can't screw up pancakes. Like,
Yeah.
by, like, law, you can't screw up pancakes. So does anybody else have anything they want to share today? I kind of want to wrap this up.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's,
Tired of-
it's going to be about that time.
It's going to be about that time. I don't know if we have any intro or outro music yet, but if we do, it's about to happen in like 30 seconds. My name is Jeremy. Thank you for listening to the 25A podcast. To my left
It's Damon, and to my left.
It's Chris to my left.
Josh, good night.
Okay, good night.
Night.